the OM6 the best gimbal for smartphones or a total waste of money? In today's video, you're gonna find out.
So first things first, let's start with what you really care about when it comes to a gimbal. Does it get smooth shots? And the answer with the Osmo Mobile 6 is absolutely yes. This does a really good job of stabilizing all those jerky movements, whether you're walking, you're running, or you're just doing little micro movements, but trying to get them as smooth as possible. But most gimbals nowadays do a good job of stabilizing the camera. What else is there about the Osmo Mobile 6 that makes this a good or terrible investment for content creators? Stick around because we have a ton of really cool features and one thing that may make this a bad investment for you. One thing I absolutely love about this gimbal is the form factor. This gimbal has an extremely small footprint, and that's one of the major things I love about just filming with smartphones in general. We get to focus primarily on being creative first, and a lot of that is because the gear is just so small and easy to use. I think most people taking this gimbal out of the box for the first time are really surprised at how small it is, like literally the size of my hand. And on top of that, you have the gimbal legs and then the magnetic clip, which by themselves can fit into your pocket or the water bottle sleeve of a backpack. So I mentioned ease of use, and this gimbal is super easy to use and get set up. It literally will come out like this, super small footprint. We're gonna unlock and open the gimbal, which will mean it's gonna automatically turn on. Now we have the magnetic phone clamp on our phone already. I can snap that on, and it's literally gonna power on and prompt me to open up the camera app already. Now the app that's designed to work with the gimbal is the DJI Mimo app, and that is another huge thing that I love about this gimbal, because inside of this one app you have full control of tons of valuable settings and additional smart features that help take your content to the next level when you're using this combo. Up first, you have the basic exposure controls that aren't easily accessible on most phones, especially iPhones. So on the left here, we can actually switch out of auto exposure and go to manual exposure, where we can now control our ISO and our shutter speed. You have the basic resolution and frame rate controls. And if we tap in the bottom left here, we can actually control our white balance too, which is extremely important. Taking this setting out of auto and actually locking it will improve our content so we don't have any of those unnatural shifts in color while we're actually filming. Getting to know how all of these different settings work and actually taking advantage of them using this gimbal and app combo is a huge thing that separates amateur from professional content creators. Another thing I really love about the Osmo Mobile 6 is the Active Track 6.0. For solo creators like me, it's hard to get movement in our shots. Normally our camera's just up on a tripod, but with this gimbal, I can throw up a peace sign and the camera's gonna automatically track and record me. So now I can move around in the frame and get a little bit more dynamic movement in my videos. It's also really helpful because if I'm filming something where I need to watch where I'm walking, this allows me to look at my feet, make sure I'm not tripping, but the camera and the gimbal will keep the subject in frame. Specifically with the upgrade to 6.0, I feel like Active Track has gotten much better at just locking onto a subject and staying locked on. Even if they get completely hidden, like I am right here, it will always find its way back to the subject. And on top of that, in scenes with multiple people, Active Track is really good at locking onto the desired subject, staying on them, and just not getting confused. So 10 out of 10 for the Active Track. Now another thing that I really love about this gimbal paired with the Mimo app is the built-in time-lapse, motion lapse, and hyperlapse functionalities. You probably know what a time-lapse is already, but a motion lapse is where we have automated, very smooth movement in the time lapse, which gives us a really unique look, something that the average creator usually can't do with their basic setup. So here we have the gimbal mounted on a super basic light stand, and I'm gonna do a motion time lapse of me cleaning my insanely disorganized office. So here we are in the app and we have all these built-in modes here. I can just swipe down until we get into time-lapse mode. Now, I'm gonna go to the wide angle camera by sliding to the left, and this is where we can get funky with it. Now, I want this to record for 10 minutes in total. I want the interval between each shot to be 1 second. That makes it a little faster at the end. And now for time-lapse mode, I don't want fixed angle. I actually wanna go all the way to the right. And now I'm gonna choose custom motion. Now, what we can do here is actually point the camera in a certain direction. I'll start all the way up here. And now I can hit the plus icon to save that spot. And now I can use the joystick and move the camera to a completely new angle and then save that spot. Now, when I hit the record button, you'll see the gimbal is automatically going to go up to that first location and then slowly over the course of the 10 minutes, record this time lapse. And finally, one aspect of this app that I think is really helpful, especially for beginners, is the shot guide function. Now, if you come up to the top left and click on that icon right here, you're gonna see all of these different pre-made movies, and we can scroll through them and actually choose all of the different shots and see what it looks like on camera. But also, if we hit the apply button, it will show us how the shot was actually captured. So now we can kind of take inspiration from different videos other creators have made, but also see the behind the scenes inspiration so we can convert that look into our own content. It's really helpful if you're out doing something fun and your brain is just not able to come up with more creative ideas. All right, up next, we have to talk about the Selfie Rod Extension. Now, I never thought I was gonna be the gimbal on a stick vlog type guy, but this is actually really helpful. Normally, you're holding your camera up there and it's like really hard on your arms, but this allows you to get the same exact angle with like half the work. You can also change the tilt angle right here, which is gonna give you a little bit more flexibility when you're shooting. But what I actually love most about this feature right here is the fact that you can go underslung and get super low shots, which is gonna add a lot of just like dynamic creativity to your videos without having to bend over and break your back. Doing underslung shots like this is just something that most people don't do in their videos, so it's immediately gonna help you and your content stand out even more. Okay, so that covers all the major things I love about the Osmo Mobile 6 paired with the DJI Mimo app. But I said earlier in the video, there's one thing that may or may not break this as an investment for some creators. Now, this has everything to do with the payload capacity of this gimbal. So basically, when it comes to gimbals, we have all of these motors in the actual device to keep the phone steady and hold things up. Those are only rated for a certain amount of weight, and if we exceed that payload capacity, the gimbal just won't be able to keep the shot smooth. Now, the payload capacity on the DJI Osmo Mobile 6 is 290 grams, which for pretty much all phones is totally fine. This iPhone 13 Pro Max is 238 grams. This Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is 234 grams. So again, no issue with either of these, but as soon as you throw a case on one of your phones, you're getting even closer to that payload capacity. And more so than that, let's say you wanted to use a smartphone accessory. This is something I've kind of created myself. It's a universal smartphone clip with a couple step-up rings and then a variable ND filter from shopmoment.com. This thing is not that heavy, but it's also going to exceed the motor. So you can see if I place this over the lens, oh, it's actually holding. That's not that bad. But if I try to move things around, you can just see it on this back screen. It's not smooth, and right there the gimbal is like trying to hold on and it's really not able to. And usually what happens when I put it on, the entire thing just turns off, which is kind of a bummer. But we can take it off, hit that button, and she's gonna fire up. Now, I wish that didn't happen, but it is a trade-off that we have to make in order to have a gimbal like this that is so small, foldable, compact, and easy to use. So that moves us into the final segment of this video, which is my general consensus, and you can probably guess what my thoughts are. As great as these are, most people are truly not using them. Most people use smartphones because they want quick, easy, small footprint, and that is what this gimbal is going to give you. And at $149, I think this is an absolute steal for all of the things that are included, like the app, the ability to use active track, the extendable rod feature, and there are even other things we didn't touch on all that much, like this wheel on the side that allows you to control the manual focus or control the zoom of the different lenses. I really don't think anyone would regret spending the $149 to get a device that is as smart as this. And personally, for me, it is my #1 recommendation for most smartphone content creators. Now, before you go, I do want to tell you about the full A to Z walkthrough tutorial we just added to 14-Day Filmmaker, covering absolutely everything there is to know about the DJI Osmo 6. 14-Day Filmmaker is our most popular online course at contentcreator.com, and it teaches literally everything there is to know to master the process of shooting and editing videos on your smartphone. And it doesn't matter what smartphone you have. We've literally had over 100,000 people enroll in this course, and they are crushing it on YouTube, social media, shooting better content for their brands, or just getting better at the hobby that they love. When you enroll, you get lifetime access to hundreds of videos that are gonna cover all of the best gear, how to set it up, what the proper cinematic settings are, how to light your scenes like a pro and capture professional audio on a budget. You're gonna learn all of the best, most cinematic movements and other B-roll tips and tricks. And we also include mini courses that teach all of the major editing programs, from the professional apps like Adobe Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, and Final Cut Pro, all the way down to the super powerful smartphone apps like VN Video Editor, CapCut, LumaFusion, and more. I also personally host a weekly live Q&A call in our students only community, so you can ask me questions and get real-time feedback. I really think this is a no-brainer deal for anyone who's serious about learning content creation in the fastest time frame possible, and I've included a link to the sale we're currently running in the description beneath this video. So hit that link if you want to learn more and potentially enroll. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.